Happy Thanksgiving and welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to another episode of the Russo and Goodwin Show. I am your co-host, Russo, with a yawning. Looks like he just ate a big Thanksgiving plate. Coach Trey over there right before the show. How are we doing today, man?
We're here, baby. We're here. Obviously, back in the humble abode of the better half here. Shout out Sugarfoot. We got the cat tree in the
Cat
background.
tree.
So
Shout out
we're
to Cat tree, dude. Cat tree is my favorite part.
cat tree out and about. We've got like our sticky notes. We're ready to rock. We've got some unders, maybe a little bit of overs, maybe some not touching it. Black Friday tomorrow, Thanksgiving today. I'm sure each and every one of you have eaten entirely too much, probably talked about each other. Someone got political at the gathering. I mean, it's all the things that happen in Thanksgiving, but we don't want to go a Thursday despite the holiday without the ability to go live here and talk about all the things college football. Mainly, is there a new visor in town?
I saw someone's tweet that said if Lane doesn't come to LSU, I'm going to bring up politics at the table today or something like that. Or if he stays with Ole
Thanks,
Miss.
Kiffin. I've seen it all.
Yeah. No, yeah. Thanksgiving, man. We were talking about this yesterday. It was just like, we have a little time slot to get on the sticks and talk some football, man. And I think what we can start the show with, and we'll start along with the game this weekend, right? And we'll maybe close with the what is it, Lane's giving or Thanks Kiffin
Thanks, Kiffin.
talk, the Lane Kiffin watch, so to say, on uh on the end of the show. So let's just talk about the game. Obviously, this is a big game for Oklahoma. This is a playoff game, so to say. I think if you lose, I don't think you have a shot here of backdooring your way in, right? I mean, this is a playoff game for them, and LSU has nothing to play for necessarily. They've already clinched their bowl game. It's they have. I wouldn't say they have nothing to play for. The seniors and the people that are there's a lot to play for on the LSU side from a non-playoff standard, but for the big one, Oklahoma's got to win this game, and they're favored by 10.5 points with a whopping low total of 36.5. What are your thoughts on the game? I believe Nussmeier has been ruled out officially yesterday or today, which we kind of expected. So what are your thoughts going into the game? I know you had some keys to victory on the show yesterday, but or the day before, but what are your thoughts, man?
To be honest with you, brother, this is the weirdest time. I think we've said this a couple of different ways, but it's interesting that the football game isn't what everyone wants to discuss. Like it's different. It's weird. This matchup, I kind of mentioned it and alluded to it on catching up. The ability for LSU to win this game is going to be hard, bro. Oklahoma's good in every way that LSU sucks, and Oklahoma is, frankly, average at every. Sorry, there's my better half is getting the decorations out for Christmas. It's a full Christmas
Shout out,
wonderland
Lindsay.
just on the other side of the other door.
Yeah,
Shout
we
out,
got to
Lindsay.
get the cat on the cat tree to fulfill this Thanksgiving episode, right?
I'll go find her if you want. Um, she, honey, is the cat close? No, she's not. Okay. Um, Sorry about that. He had a had a sneak peek. I will say that at Oklahoma. So what the year started with their defense being good, right? We kind of mentioned that this year when we went, I believe, over the win total for Oklahoma. We were kind of going back and forth, and I said, look, this defense should still be good. John Mateer, does he have the weapons? The offense has really not been like awesome. Like, I mean, they've been good. Like they convert. Coach Arbuckle has really done a good job with, getting the boys out in space and open. The one thing I will say is that they do utilize all the space on the field, and they remind me a little bit. Just hang on now. They remind me a little bit of some of those Arkansas KJ Jefferson offenses and the way that they literally use every single bit of the field. KJ Jefferson obviously is not the same kind of player as Moneyline Mateer, but what they did do at Arkansas with that scheme is you had to defend. Okay, so put it this way. Say you go zone, right? Say you run a 4-3 and you go and you run zone. That means you basically have everything underneath to be taken plus the quarterback run, right? But if you go man, then that obviously means that you're going to have probably five in the box at that point. I mean, if you're going to have, four out, a linebacker's going to be out on someone, someone's going to get schemed over the middle with a running back. So you've got maybe one left rovering the quarterback because 4-on-5, he'll have all day. So Oklahoma kind of makes you decide what it is that you want to do at the line of scrimmage before, and it's interesting because they really don't have any overpowering, unbelievable. They've got playmakers, but they really have made their hay with playing keep away and running the football effectively, whether it's with a running back or with the quarterback. In this instance, running little crossers over the middle of the field and just converting, and they will dink and dunk you to death, and then they will lull you to sleep and throw it over the top. And I think that's where, in essence, the game kind of got away from them when they played Ole Miss. Is that Ole Miss basically was the whole time go, 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 go. Your strength is your defense. We're going to make them tired. And so LSU can't do that. So LSU is going to need a turnover. They're going to need something that they haven't really gotten, which is maybe like a defensive or special team score, which they did do against this team last year, by the way. It seems like they'll need something, an extra turnover, defensive score, special teams, flip field, kind of like something is going to happen, because if Oklahoma's on, you're not going to boat race them. You're not with this offense at this point. You are what you are. You don't have the scheme to go, possession for possession with this team. And so what I will say pretty comfortably is, I think this is probably the game where your defense can keep you in it like you did with Alabama on the road. It's just, I haven't seen a worse matchup with Oklahoma's D line versus this now hurt O line. And so because of that, I see it being a long day for the Tigers.
Yeah, I mean, I think you hit it right on the head. I mean, I think this is Amateur's not he's not known. I mean, I wouldn't say he's not known for it, but he is a mobile quarterback when he has to be, and
Hmm.
he's not gonna like outrun you or anything, but he's definitely going to offer that as a threat. And
He'll go get a first down now.
yeah, he'll go get a first down. He'll go score a touchdown. He's actually the favorite.
Mm.
He'll actually score a favorite, or he's the favorite to score the touchdown. Not many are minus money this weekend. Coach is dripping, man. I said that to him before before we started the show. And final predictions, we'll get to that on
It's coming.
towards the end of the
Pause.
show. It's coming. We're starting with the game, and we don't really have a lot. I mean, I would say that I had pulled up the player prop, stat lines. There's not much, man. I don't think there would even be worth something that we could put together, because like it's going to be a lot of LSU unders, and I just frankly don't want to root. I don't want to pull for that or bet that, right? Which sucks. I think from a betting perspective on this game, if you believe LSU has the ability to get two touchdowns, crank the over, right? I think you struggle with that last week against a Western Kentucky team that you know doesn't have
That's
the
Western Kentucky.
yeah, you know what I'm saying, like it's not Oklahoma's defense. So if you think you can score two touchdowns against them, go ahead and bet it. If you're an LSU fan, you're obviously going to pull for LSU, but I mean there are some good areas that you can bet, especially on FanDuel if you're in Louisiana. Player props are banned, thanks Butte, for that, but they now are offering team stat lines. So you can bet the under, for example, on LSU's rushing yards, total yards, or passing yards. The rushing, when I checked it on Tuesday, was 77 and a half rush yards, including sacks. Now that's the big difference. Uh, that's the big difference on college. Sacks count as negative rush yards in college compared to the NFL. They do not. It was 77 and a half on Tuesday. Now it's all the way down to 69 and a half. I probably still like that number given the mismatch we've talked about with this O line.
Right.
Uh, I expect Michael Van Buren to get sacked several times. Not his fault. It was never really his fault given the injuries, and this isn't an excuse. Nuss dealt with it too, and I think a lot of us gave him credence for that. So that's an area I liked. I also do like the under for the game and for team total for LSU at 12.5. So I just hate betting those because I don't want to pull against LSU, but there is money to be made. So that's it for the game. I think Oklahoma covers. I think this game goes under. I think it's a snoozer if you want the honest truth.
Yeah.
And honestly, like I said, outside of seniors, someone like Michael Van Buren who's getting another game on tape for him possibly transferring somewhere or even competing for the starting job next year. There isn't really anything to play for outside of those things. So um, we shall see. I think a game that people will be interested in is actually tomorrow at 11 a.m. Central Standard Time, which is Ole Miss taking on Mississippi State in the Egg Bowl.
More
That is
cowbell,
a
baby.
game.
More
That is a
cowbell.
game that has interest, just given the circumstances of Lane Kiffin. Now, the game takes place, like I said, 11 a.m. early start on a Friday. Ole Miss has been off last week, and I think Mississippi State was off as well. So both teams have been off. Both teams have been resting. Spread, believe it or not, it's just 7.5. It's been
About to
floating
say.
around. It's been floating around that and 6.5 this whole time. And you would think, given whose room is it? Look, I mean, this is a sick room. Okay, we're not gonna give up the location of that. But given just the history over the last 5 years and where these teams are, this is a shocking line, and I think a lot of that is due to the noise going on with Coach Kiffin. So, what are your thoughts on this game? And just give me a small little detail breakdown on that one.
So I will say shout out Coach Levy. Coach Levy has made this state team a lot better than we thought. I mean, we were. I mean, it was literally them in Kentucky who was going to be the worst team in the SEC. I think they'd beat Kentucky by 2 touchdowns right now. I can confirm that. Ole Miss is the better team. This just in, right? A 10-1 team. It's on the road, right? So you're gonna walk into nothing but cowbell for 4 quarters, and these games never go the way that they're supposed to go. Or I say according to plan. That's not to say that Ole Miss won't win. I think they should. I think they probably will. But it's a tight atmosphere, brother. I mean, the state's gonna throw it now. State's gonna throw it. So it's not quite as crazy as the Auburn Bama series where just like mythical weird things happen. But this is going to be one of those games where if you're not paying attention, you could look up at at the end of the third or midway through the fourth, and it'd be a 3 or 4 point game, and you're going, oh shit, like we're like we're right there. Um, I don't for Mississippi State's chance. I don't like that this game is at 11:45. I think it's like noon actually. I don't think it's 11. It might be, I think it might be closer to like 12, but I could be wrong. Um, because I don't know that you abide by the same TV window, considering that it's a Friday, right? But if you're an Ole Miss fan, that's exciting. You want everyone to be sleepy, take some time to warm up. Like I would much prefer if we were going to take the state and the points to take this as a night game, but considering that it's not a nightcap, I want to give the edge, obviously, to Ole Miss. I do think that 7.5 is an interesting number because if it got to the keynote of like 6.5 or 7, then clearly you would take the points, right? But considering that it's 7.5, I kind of want to stay away. Um, what I will say is that they should just run the football. They shouldn't need to start throwing it everywhere. Get scheme your playmakers open, but Kawan Lacey should have every bit of 130 yards rushing in this with 20 attempts type of thing. Um, Brother, wherever he goes, if they lose this game tomorrow night, there's going to be stuff on Twitter by like 4:30 in the afternoon. Like you will not have I will not have my afternoon community coffee by the time I hear something. I'm telling you, my phone's going to ring by 4 o'clock if they lose tomorrow. But the decision. It's supposed to be made on like Saturday morning or whatever the case, and they have a press conference probably close to lunch type of thing. But I think that's very much dictated on how this game goes. They win, everyone gets nervous, an emotional decision could take place. But if they lose, then it's like, why not cut cold turkey? But um, we'll see, bro. We'll see. It's an interesting game because State's not a pushover, but I do think Ole Miss has every reason to go out here and cover. I just don't know if they will.
And sorry for my computer making it sounds like a freaking jet engine right now.
It does sound like a jet engine.
Yeah, so I do apologize for that. I will say Ole Miss is leading the SEC in total yardage at 493 a game. Mississippi State's average, I mean, they're right in the middle of the pack at 394, but they're going to have to probably keep Ole Miss's offense off the field if they want any chance to win this game. Um, a big thing we want to look at is the scenarios of how Ole Miss could potentially get into the SEC title game, and
Hmm.
because that's another mitigating factor that could affect the decision, the timing of it, or even where he possibly goes. Now, thankfully, they would need A&M and Alabama to both lose in order for
Right.
them to get in.
That's
But
right.
it's never say never. We've seen crazier things happen on the last week going into conference championship week. So never say never. But man, definitely need. LSU fans are definitely cheering for Mississippi State, getting the cowbells out tomorrow. Uh, because if Mississippi State wins, you're right. I think it takes the emotional side out of it, and I think decisions easily made Saturday on where he's going. A win, you never know. Obviously, I expect them to win, and then it just comes down to a situation, which we'll get into in a second because we're going to close the show with the Kiffin talk and maybe a timeline where we last left off. But he's kind of in the driver's seat of basically making them fire him. Like he wants to coach this team, and he's not. He's basically going to make Ole Miss tell him no, and um, I think he needs two more wins to be all time winningest coach in Mississippi, or have an
Ole
11
Miss, right?
at Ole Miss. I forgot what the stat line was. So like, well, if he wins tomorrow, then then he could have a home playoff game potentially and get there. So you know what I'm saying? So we'll get into this in a second, obviously, but definitely pulling for Mississippi State if you're an LSU fan, because that makes this whole process go a lot smoother.
Hmm.
So yeah, in other big games, we've got A&M and Texas.
Should be a
That
fun
is
one. I like that one.
that is also Friday night. Um, but yeah, well, my dang watch is recording me or something. That game is in or at Texas. It's 6:30 tomorrow night, and it's a 2.5 point spread for A&M. So money to be made here on either side, whether you're a Longhorn fan, an Aggie fan, or just a betting man or woman looking to try and make some money. If you're on the A&M side, minus 140 on the money line, not bad at all. So that's a good game, and then we've got I believe Georgia and Georgia Tech is 2:30 tomorrow. That game is irrelevant as far as the SEC championship is concerned for Georgia. They need, I believe, Bama to lose if they're going to
Georgia
get
needs Bama to lose and A&M, right? Or just Bama for Georgia,
in.
but Ole
I
Miss
think
needs
it's
both of them to lose. A&M just needs to win and get in.
Georgia would need either Bama or A&M to lose. So one of
Gotcha.
those, which I mean, that's more likely than the Ole Miss scenario. But Georgia is a 13.5 point favorite against Georgia Tech, man.
Well,
So
this was the game that me and you made some overtime money last
who
year.
made some good money, and it's at Georgia Tech this year. I mean, is there an injury we're missing here?
Coach Key could have something going down.
Is Haynes King injured?
Well, they just lost last weekend. So
Yeah, but I mean,
they're,
damn, this line.
I
It's
know.
not like Georgia's been like. I don't know. Are you? Have you been impressed? It's like they're 10-1. They're the number 4 team. But like I say, given what happened last year, this is uh, a wide line. given what's
Gunnar
taken place this
Stockton's been
year.
good, man. Gunnar Stockton's been good. I don't know that he's been Heisman Trophy level good, but Gunnar Stockton's been good, and he has done everything that they've asked him to do. Can this, you know, do you remember? Do you remember whenever you would watch like the old Red River, like the Red River shootout games, and
Yeah.
everyone is gassed up for it. Might even be a game day game, sometimes middle of the year, sometimes towards the end of the year. This game has never felt like that, but because Coach Brent Key has the Yellow Jackets like doing some good shit, like all of a sudden now it's like it's not like Georgia should win this game by 2 scores. And that is what Vegas is telling you. And because of their red zone effectiveness, they are saying that they get sevens more than threes. And because of Georgia Tech just now losing, they are saying this is a 2 score win for Georgia, however you want to look at it. It was not last year. Um, and for every reason that it shouldn't be. The only thing that leaves you up to be confused is because it's on the road and you're like, Jesus Christ, 2 touchdowns on the road. Georgia Tech in the ACC has not been overwhelming people, but they play a physical brand of football that makes it feel like this should be more like 10, right? So 13 is why it kind of sounds a little weird, but it's not that crazy. The red zone efficiency for Georgia is like really, really strong. So it's not that scary and crazy, but hey, look, if they get to overtime again, I'm betting it. You know what I'm saying? Like I'll bet for 3 OT plus
Yeah.
again.
What a hit that was last year.
Make some bands.
But yeah, interesting games tomorrow for those that are off on the Black Friday. And then obviously we have our games on Saturday along with the decision, uh, which, I personally feel like we're not going to get a decision right. I don't know. Let's just get into it. We've been talking about it or hinting at it a little bit here. So let's just go small, fast timelines of what's happened since the last time we've been on the show.
Okay.
So we recorded Thursday. We
Hmm.
knew that there was a meeting between the AD, Keith Carter, and
Hmm.
Lane Kiffin on Friday. That took place, and a interesting tweet was announced along around, what was this, around like 2 o'clock on Friday, along with the odds skyrocketing all of a sudden on an app called Kalshi. I think if you have, it's kind of like a stock website, but you can basically bet any kind of scenarios. And at 2 o'clock, it skyrocketed from like 40 to 80% for Lane Kiffin. And a tweet was put out basically saying a decision is going to be made after the Egg Bowl on Saturday. So that happens. And then we've gotten, that night, the contract, got leaked. Oh, is the cat there? Is that the cat?
We just had it. I was on the
Oh,
screen with it.
damn. I was looking at other, damn. Um, I'm allergic.
I'll grab her. She's eating. Just go ahead.
Um, so then that night, the contract details got leaked by Bellinger, basically saying that LSU was offering a $9 million contract and 20 upwards of $25 million in NIL money. Um, I think we both know that those aren't the actual numbers.
Hmm.
LSU probably wasn't thrilled that that got leaked. Um, but
Mm.
spatial, whatever. Anyways, so that happened, and it's been somewhat quiet outside of the conference that was held on Monday by Lane Kiffin, who basically dodged all questions regarding the coaching situation. He looked kind of defeated up there, if you want to know my opinion on it. He didn't look thrilled. I don't watch every Lane Kiffin conference, so that just could be how he is every time, but he just didn't look like he was thrilled to answer those questions and not be able to. Dude, we need to get the cat on here. Like we have to get the cat on here. Oh, what's up? What's
She's not
up?
happy. She wants to go outside. Okay, come on, come on.
But anyways, so that happened on Monday, and it's been relatively quiet since then. So here we are on Thursday. The betting odds on the offshore accounts have Lane Kiffin minus 165 to be the next LSU coach.
Mm-hmm.
So if you bet $100, you would get what to win, or if you bet $165, you would win 100. So slight favorite. What's your prediction as to what takes place tomorrow? What takes place Saturday? And will
I
he join LSU and be at the podium on Monday?
That's what LSU's planning for. I'll say that. LSU's plan. It's been made. They've made it very aware that their expectation is to have him at the podium on Monday in a polo and a visor. Um, what's not? I would be shocked if they did it on Sunday. I'd be shocked. I think that they would make it, Monday news. Um, Eli Drinkwitz having a contract extension today certainly makes, LSU, um, or maybe even Florida or Ole Miss feel a little bit better. Because at that point you're basically seeing that a backup option is now being told that he's not going to go to any of those three schools. Okay, so to me, there's no reason why and again, this is Lane Kiffin, so he could just up and decide whatever, I'm going to stay. There is no reason to have drugged this out if you are going to stay. So
Agreed.
you know what I'm saying, and I'm not saying like for those people that are saying, well, he's waiting to see if he can do it. He's waiting to see if if they're going to win and make it and do it. No, 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 no. If he wanted to stay, he would already have signed the extension. I'm not leaving. Made a meme about it, whatever. But what I'm saying is, it's not over until it's over, or there's a lot that can happen. You've got the meeting where basically it was, "Hey Lane, like, what are you doing?" And Lane went up and said, "Fire me, ho, do it. I wish you would," because they're not. They're not going to fire him. They need a reason and there's no mitigation in his contract, so they need Lane to just step down. So it's kind of like almost like a gentleman's agreement. Like, I'll get you to the playoffs, but I'm going to go take a job. And it's kind of like the way that it feels. I think the Florida media feels like they've been a bit, slow to, sorry, has been a bit slow to come up with new information. It's like something will happen on Monday, and then like Tuesday of next week, they'll still throw out the same info that was there like 9 days ago, and it's like, hey man, like that happened 9 days ago. So I think LSU feels really, really good, but Florida feels really, really good too. The problem that I see for this is that there's going to be a lot of difficulty in not letting this leak out before Saturday. Like Friday night, there are going to be whispers.
Twitter's going to be crazy
So
Friday.
Saturday is going to be the day where it has to be said. But this needs to be done by Monday for either of the two schools that think they're going to get him in order to get him. And if they're not, I'd be prepared to do. I told you on my show is you roll Baker out there. He's your new head coach. Kenny D decided that he wants to stay in Arizona State. You don't have to pay him all that much. He's got your defense in the top 25. You're looking at the mold of Ohio State, Notre Dame, um, Georgia, and then also Oregon
So you're saying no
as
Summerall. You're saying right to Baker if
I'm
as
saying
you're
that John
saying.
Summerall will absolutely be an option, but it feels as though Summerall has eyes for Ole Miss or Auburn. And I'm not saying that he would have eyes for Ole Miss or Auburn over, and Florida's also been talking to him. But I'm not saying he would prefer those jobs over LSU. But what I would say is that it feels like you could just go the Blake route.
I got here late, so Ole Miss makes the playoffs. You still think Kiffin leaves this weekend or does the punk round? No comment. And you had just alluded to this trade on a
No,
gentleman's agreement. I mean, I personally think Lane Kiffin is going to say, like, he's going to tell Keith Carter, hey, like, I want to coach this team. But I
I
think
think so
they're,
too.
and now will he tell him his decision, which doesn't appear that he's staying. So whether he's going to LSU or Florida, he tells them, hey, look, like, I'm going to LSU, I'm going to Florida, but I want to coach this team. And then Ole Miss, the ball's in their court at that point. Will
Mm-hmm.
they let him coach the playoffs? I don't think that will be up to Lane because I think Lane would be coaching that team
Because
if he had the choice. So
and
like,
LSU's willing to wait. They'll wait till the end of the playoffs. They've said that to him.
and they've been like Kiffin's been their only option. There's been another report that both Ole Miss is contingently looking, as well as Florida are looking. I don't. I think LSU has pushed the chips all in here. Like
Mm-hmm.
they're
Have.
willing to wait.
Yep.
So I think if Kiffin had his cake and ate it too, I think he's definitely wanting to coach, but the ball will be in Ole Miss's court at that point, and I don't personally think they want him to be the coach, um, if he is indeed leaving, because there's conflicts all around the table of possibly recruiting, bringing some
Correct.
of his players with him, and I'm not necessarily mad about that. Um, is that who we want? It's all about character in my world. I still think he's a turd, and my motto is you can't polish a turd. I mean, a lot of people have that take. A lot of people have this position. They still don't like Lane. They never have. They never will. I would say as in we as terms of we, if we're talking about the university, I think he is the most notable coach out there. He's the most wanted coach out there. So I would say yes. Um, they do want him. Me personally, I do too. I know that he's had his issues in the past, but he's an offensive genius, and obviously he hasn't been in a situation where he's won a national championship or even been to the playoff. But I do feel and reason with you if you still have this position because he has had a bad past, so that a lot of people just can't get over and think it's just a show. So I'm not going to knock anyone that has this position because it's definitely warranted.
I
What's
have
it? What say
three.
you?
I have three. Thank you for teeing that up. I have three names to the reason why that doesn't matter. Will Wade, Nate Oates, Dan Hurley. And of course, those are all basketball references. These are basketball coach references. You will get over the bold and the brash when you're beating people's ass. You will get over it.
And
And
that's
it
just
is,
something Brian Kelly couldn't do. I
and it,
think we
correct,
kind of had the same.
enough. He
Yeah,
couldn't do it enough. Like you just got rid of a coach. You went after, and here's my point with LSU fans, and it's just so difficult for them to. I need Tylenol. You just went the route again, and he has the right to have that opinion, and he's not even saying that that is. He's also he's not saying that he's incapable of changing his viewpoint based on what happens. You just hired the best resume coach of any sport of all time at your university. No one had a resume like Brian Kelly outside of maybe Kim Mulkey, you know? Like, how did that work for you? You know what I'm saying? Like, lazy, wasn't recruiting, was making everyone else do all the work. Like, Frank Wilson and Austin Thomas have, for all intents and purposes, been running this team for quite some time. But BK had the headset. And so if you don't have the desire to say, I don't want my head coach to have a checkered history of drinking and making poking fun at people on Twitter and being brash on social media. I can understand that if you want your coach to just shut up and coach football and be like Kirby Smart. Kirby Smart's not all over Twitter, but you know what Kirby Smart does do? He does the Dan Lanning thing, where he'll go to the podium and whine and cry and moan, and then on the sidelines lie about never calling a timeout and be the poor me and the woe is me, or be like Coach Dabo Sweeney and oh well just little old Clemson. Dude, no one thinks you're little old Clemson. You've won two national championships. No one thinks that you're poor woe is me. Like it's the victimhood and the bullshit that people are okay with, but because they weren't drinkers and and get go through public divorces, all of a sudden like that's okay. And again, I'm not mitigating right from wrong and separating fact from fiction. I am telling you that because of where he has come from and where he is now, reconciled with his wife, has mentioned multiple times about his faith, about his connection with his children, spending more time with his kids. Like, to me, if that person has always desired to have this job and has always had an eye for this job, there's two jobs he's always wanted, this one and Alabama. If you're the one that can have the opportunity to give it to him and he's beating your ass with less at another school, with less that you don't really even compete for recruits, and he is beating your ass every other year basically, because that's what it's been, win loss with the Ole Miss and LSU thing, and you had the NIL advantage, you had the recruiting advantage, you had the like. Did anyone look at those two teams and say Ole Miss has the better team than LSU? It's it is embarrassing for us to say we're too good for him. We need someone else with a perfect history. If that's the case, then you don't want Ole Miss and you want Blake Baker as your head coach. Well, let me give you a news flash. He's two options down the road from that happening. Because if this doesn't go and you don't go the Summerall route, because it seems like Kenny D's not coming from Arizona State, you're going to get your wish. And what I am here to say is, if you're scoring 40 points a game and you've got another Heisman Trophy winner and you're in the playoff, don't anybody give a damn about what he was doing 15 years ago and taking pickle shots. Okay.
Go on, Trey. Trey never fails to go into character with Dabo Sweeney, with that Dabo Sweeney accent. So,
Dude,
and
dude.
final message before the turkey kicks in, which is right, man. It's been, it's been here. What happens when Bama shits the pot and fires their coach? I don't think that happens. Obviously, if they were to lose this game, I think they would be severely disappointed. I don't think they go as far as firing him.
They'd have
Now,
two losses, right? Three. They'd have three.
yeah, so they would be done. But unless he were to leave for a school like Penn State, which had a little bit of leg early on this week, but I don't think it was there was no validity to that. I don't think they would fire him, but this is his second season, correct? I mean, I
Hmm.
would say he's on par so far. I mean, you've got to give a coach, I would say, 4 years, right? So I don't think they fire him unless something tragic happens. And I think Alabama's going to take care of business anyways.
And
It's a
and
tough game, but
and what he means is ultimately what he means is what happens in 2 or 3 years whenever if and when they move on from Kalen DeBoer, it's likely that he will not be there for as long as Nick Saban was there, right? So what happens when he leaves and Alabama decides they want to go get Kiffin? Then you get to fight for him every year, like Georgia does, and like Oregon does, and like Ohio State does. You don't get to have my coach eat a bag of crap. That's what you get to do. You, you and again, and he's not saying to not hire him because of that. That is ultimately, and we talked about this at the gym, me and this person. This is the exact position you want to be in. And if you don't go and get the coach that everybody wants, then you're just not doing the right thing. Um, and last but certainly not least, I did want to give a shout out, obviously, to all of you that were tuning in on the Thanksgiving show too. Maybe here soon we may have a couple of opportunities on the table, maybe to have a little deal here on the show. Shout out to our friends over at Web Western for sure, but maybe a local properties company wants to pick up a podcast and have a little paid monetization to get on the show. We'll see what happens.
Absolutely. And like I said,
We'll see what happens.
we appreciate everyone here. If you're new, please don't hesitate to like and subscribe to the channel. Getting close to 100, and yeah, man, let's just put a
Giveaway at
bow tie
100.
on it. Put a bow tie on it. I think Ole Miss wins. They don't make it to the conference championship. Announcements made Saturday that he's coming to LSU. I am
Blades of glory, dude.
still I am still thinking personally that it's Florida, but
Blades of glory.
we are going to stick in this strong, like you've told me to. Pause. And I just think the reverse psychology is going to work. Hopefully, so.
Come on. There's a new visor in town, baby. Come on.
All right, guys. Well, I know everyone's probably pooped. It's Thanksgiving, so either go get your second serving at dinner or turn on the Wednesday or the Thursday night football game. The Ravens and old LSU alumni Joe Burr is back. Him and Jamar Chase probably going to have a nice little connection tonight in the end zone, would be my guess, if that hasn't already happened. I have not kept up with the game. So everyone have a great Thanksgiving. Have a great Black Friday, and we will see you guys next week.